Hey everyone, it's me, Dan, from the Uncles and Fatherhood podcast. I'm so excited. I got to interview Travis Cripps from Chicago, Illinois. He has two children. He has a boy and a girl, and he is a dentist. And I got to interview him last night, and I have the interview for you today. I'm so excited to do this awesome interview with him. And so sit back and relax and enjoy this amazing interview I did with him.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I have you on
All right, perfect.
audio speaker, so you're fine.
Okay, great. Are you calling from Kansas City?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. We actually just moved from Kansas City.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So did you watch the game last Sunday?
I watched most of it, and then I didn't catch all of the second half because it was, honestly kind of a blowout.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It was not that fun.
No, it wasn't.
But mostly the other games are much better.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. How's your week going?
It's doing okay. This morning I have therapy, and that's mostly about it.
All right. Yeah, then I guess while I got you on the phone here, as far as the podcast goes, do you do it over Zoom? How do you normally do this?
I mostly do it on Zoom. Sometimes I do it on Zoom. I started doing it on Zoom.
Perfect.
And then I started doing it just on my phone normally, and then I just posted up to now Spotify and iTunes and all those things, and then I mostly posted on Facebook. And
okay.
I have a page on Facebook as well called the Uncles and Fatherhood, and then an Instagram, the same name. And I also have merchandise, just like T-shirts and stuff like that.
Nice, you're going all in. I like it.
And the other thing, companies, I do giveaways. Big companies send me some stuff, and I promote it, and other companies send me like diapers, and I promote that.
Oh, great!
Yeah, so yeah, so I will like put this all together and edit, and then there will be a episode on there. So tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so my wife and I moved from Kansas City about a year and a half ago. I was in the Air Force, and so I was stationed out at Whiteman Air Force Base. And so we moved from Kansas City to St. Louis, and I am in my pediatric dental residency right now. So I work at St. Louis University and Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. And I'm graduating, here in June, and then we'll be moving to Illinois. But, we've been married for going on 5 years. We have two young kids, a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old, boy and girl. And that's kind of the big breakdown of us. How about you?
Well, I'm just a single guy with two nephews.
Right. Gotcha.
With a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So, well, that's my sister's kids. And on the side, I mostly bake and sell cookies.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I actually used to work at a bakery before I was a dentist, ironically.
I mean,
So
I do it.
that's
I
it.
do it from home, and I do other things too. I have a podcast for music and all that other fun stuff. But
Oh, that's awesome.
I used to when I well I lived in the East Coast in Delaware, Newark, Delaware. So I went to school at the University of Delaware. So, uh, and I wanted to do radio, and I got the opportunity to do that. And once in a while, they have opportunities for me because I left. I don't live in Delaware anymore, so they give me opportunities, and I just send them my playlist, and they'll play it on the air or somewhere, college radio. But
Okay.
so I mean, that most of my playlists are like you can listen to it online and stuff like that.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I yeah, I really know nothing about the radio industry, so it's always fun to learn about these things, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so um, as far as the podcast, I did listen to um, kind of a couple episodes there, but as far as how you want to structure things, do you kind of like to structure it and ask questions? Or you just want us to kind of chat
Um,
about being dads and uncles? Or
yeah.
how
I
do you
mean,
like it to
it
go?
does it. You can talk about like you can say what we can talk about anything. It'll just go on. All some will ask questions, and then the questions will go with your answer or it.
Cool.
So so
All right.
because mostly sometimes dads would send me I would send them questions, and then they would send me their storylines of what they have to offer.
Uh-huh.
So um so what inspired you to be a father?
You know, I was a little unique, I think, in the fact that when I was really young, probably seventh or eighth grade, I always liked kids. Looking back on it, I realize now how young I actually was. That I was still what I would consider a very young kid, but I already knew that I had kind of that protective, big brother, fatherly aspect to my personality. So I kind of knew even through high school that I wanted to have a family. I didn't know how many kids I wanted to have. I didn't know anything like that, but I was already kind of, when I was thinking about my career and kind of thinking about my future, I started at a very young age knowing that I wanted to have kids. So I don't know if there was one specific inspiration other than I was just kind of a very peculiar self-awareness that I had at a young age, that I just knew was going to kind of lead me this way.
That's cool. I mean, I do love kids. I mean, and kids are amazing at times.
Uh-huh.
Like, some kids can be, a little out of it,
Absolutely.
but
Well, sometimes that's the nice part of the uncle role, though, because I've actually got. Oh, let me think about this because I'm gonna mess it up. Let's see. I've got two nephews on my side, but then on my wife's side, let's see. We've got three nephews and a niece. So I've got four kiddos on my wife's side, two on my side. So yeah, six in total. And the nice part with your nephews and nieces is always that you can play, you can have fun, you can get them all hyper, and then you give them back.
yeah, that's true.
You learn quickly that revenge revenge comes quickly when you have your own kids.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I kind of want to adopt, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
might want just. It might be easier. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's such an admirable option too, though, because especially in our line of work, and we see a little bit of it. The people that work in the hospital, the nurses, the doctors, they see it all the time, and we still see a little bit of it where some of the home environments that these kids have, or their parents left them, or their foster kids, and people are doing their best to care for them, but man, when somebody steps in and actually gives these kids a stable home life, it is massively transformative for these kids.
yeah, it's. I mean, it's so hard for. I feel bad for the people that don't have kids, um, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, what's like your daily routine your with your children?
Right now, my daily routine is pretty, um, well, how do I say this? Right now, throughout the week, I don't have a huge daily routine because I actually live in St. Louis because I'm in school, and my kids live with my wife in Illinois until I finish my program. So um, I go to school Monday through Friday, and then I'll FaceTime with my kids for anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, usually every night. And then I'll see them every weekend. And then our daily routines on the weekends are pretty much we wake up and we hang out, kids take naps, and then we hang out again until they go to bed. So with their ages, they're so young that they're pretty much all day. They pretty much take your attention all day.
Yeah,
Once they start getting a little bit older, they get a little bit more independent. But when they're at this age, usually they're hanging on you, or you're holding them. So that's they really kind of take your undivided attention most of the time, which is fun.
yeah. It's mostly like you have to change your diapers. You have to do that, and I know that it's a big step in the dad world and the uncle worlds, and um,
Oh yeah, oh
um,
yeah.
so like what else you like to do with your kids when you have the chance to be with them?
Yeah, so right now, I mean, my daughter's 6 months old, so um, she's getting to the point she's a little more interactive. So we'll play with some toys, or just kind of hang out and see if she can start crawling. We're kind of working on that. My son is a little over 2, and so he is bouncing off the walls, and so he likes
Yeah,
his
yeah, yeah,
he likes his little Strider bike right now. That's his favorite thing, and it's so cold in Illinois right now that we really can't go outside. But during the summers, we really like to go to the park, and we like to go for walks and try to keep the kids outside a little bit. They would watch YouTube all day if we let them, but we try not to give them too much screen time. Um, but really, that's what we try to just stay, together, do stuff as a family, try to stay outside as much as we can. But then during the winter months, it's a little tougher to do that.
yeah. Do you have a favorite Disney movie you'd like to watch with them?
Oh man, that is a good one. They really aren't into the Disney movies yet, but I can tell you that we have watched our fair share of Coco Melon, Blippy. Those are huge right now. And then what my son refers to as ball TV, which is basically if you remember like the McDonald's play places where they have the ball
Oh,
pits,
yeah, yeah.
it's like that, except for a digital version where there's these ball pit balls that are just kind of flying around the screen, but it is mesmerizing to kids. And
Oh,
so he is definitely addicted to ball TV right now.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to the Disney phase.
Yeah. So is he into that show called Daniel the Tiger or something?
Not yet. Daniel the Tiger. That's a popular one. I haven't heard as much about that with the kids lately. I've had a couple kids that were really into Daniel the Tiger in our office. I hear a lot about Paw Patrol, still a
Oh,
popular
yeah.
one.
Yeah, that is a popular one.
Yeah, that kids seem to like that sticker. PJ Masks. We have a sticker station at the office, so I can kind of gauge what cartoons are in by the stickers the kids pick. The girls tend to still love the Frozen stickers. Frozen
Yeah.
is still a fan favorite, but the little boys are all over the place. They're Hot Wheels, dinosaurs, and then PJ Masks.
Yeah.
They're much harder to predict. Girls, I'll tell you, they've got pretty much the same interest at that age, but it's a pretty safe bet that most little girls love the princess stickers. They're usually much easier going than the little boys.
Yeah. Like my nephew just had his birthday in January, the end of January, and
Oh yeah.
he's obsessed with trucks and garbage cans. I don't know why. It's just the weirdest thing. And his birthday cake it was a replica of a trash can of just and
That
had
is awesome.
and had like just random garbage flying out of it.
That is great. That's not the first one I heard of that. Actually, one of actually my program director, one of his sons was kind of one of his interests when he was a younger kid was the garbage. He liked garbage and recycling, so they had a garbage birthday party one year. So that's not the first time I've heard that. Actually, lots of kids find the garbage truck super fascinating.
And then they had for like games, they had like just cause my sister just like cut out boxes and had like those little hand clippers so they can pick up the boxes and trash on the floor. So that was like the activity for the kids. And
That's creative.
yeah, I was like, geez, just playing around with the trash for a birthday party.
Yeah, the next thing you know, they're going to be doing a highway cleanup for
First, I thought my sister we were going to a place to pick up trash, and said no, we're gonna be doing it inside because it's COVID. I said okay, well, kids will have fun, but so that was kind of interesting. But
yeah.
but the party was kind of good. It was just a family party. I mean, just not a lot of kids, but about all the cousins coming together and picking up the trash, but mostly when you have little ones, they have after that night was very tantrums everywhere. Little kids with tantrums.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's at a certain age, that's just kind of how they communicate, and so you just get pretty used to once nighttime rolls around or bedtime rolls around, you just kind of get used to the daily tantrums.
Yeah. Yeah, those crazy kids.
Yeah, it's fun, but it definitely comes with its challenges, but it's in the grand scheme of things, you're grateful for the experience, and it's a great experience. But no one ever said that parenting is easy.
Yeah. So, what kind of do you have any tips for like newer parents new parents coming into being parents? Does that make sense?
Oh man, yeah, that's a great question. I think that what I would tell newer parents would be to give yourself some grace. You're not going to do it perfectly the first time, and you think that if your kid's crying, that you're doing something wrong, or your baby doesn't like you, or you're just a terrible parent, and it's just not the case. All little babies cry. It's not that you're a bad parent, and there are times where, especially as a brand new parent, you're just exhausted. This new baby is crying. You're not sleeping. It's easy to just get frustrated and to just really kind of feel a huge burden. And I think you got to be very honest with yourself, honest with your significant other about, hey, I need a break. Or sometimes, if the baby's well fed and their diapers change, sometimes you just have to lay the baby in their bassinet or in their crib and just walk away for a little bit and give yourself that mental break. And I think giving yourself permission at first to just kind of maintain your sanity, maintain your relationship, and realize that it's going to be okay would be, kind of my first bit of advice. Because especially as a new dad walking into this, I had nephews, but for the most part with my nephews, I wasn't changing diapers. I wasn't making sure they were fed. I really didn't have any of the hard work. I just had the easy work, the fun work, and so everything's brand new. You're not going to be perfect at first, but you don't have to be. You're going to have a support system around you. It's great to take advice to an extent, but also know that you are more than welcome, and it's your right, it's your responsibility to parent as you see fit. So take the advice that you want to take, but if you feel uncomfortable or you don't agree with something, you don't have to. So, just kind of navigating all of those at first and having the grace to just not be too hard on yourself, I think is where I would start looking back as a brand new parent. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad. It's almost like I just went through this,
Yeah. When you started to be a dad, did you get scared of like the first time changing the diaper or dealing with a tantrum?
Oh man, the first few diapers, that's an experience. That's an experience of its own. And anybody who's been with a baby right after delivery knows that those first few diapers are just atrocious. There's no good way to get around it, and you have no clue what you're doing. And things are shooting in directions and squirting. It's like the baby's trying to hit you in the face, especially when you have a little boy. And I think you just kind of, again, have to have, I always had a little bit of a sense of humor about it. Like, it didn't really, I'm a dentist, so I get spit on all day long. And I'm a dentist that works with kids, so I'm kind of used to kids having accidents and kids spitting or occasionally spitting up like that. It doesn't really bother me. And so I was already kind of ready for that.
Okay.
But I mean, the tantrums, again, I think you just have to remember that the young kids, that's just how they communicate. That's the only way they know how to communicate, and actually the only option they have to communicate for the first few years or first couple years of life, at least. So, that wasn't too shocking either, but it's definitely an adjustment, and I think that I had a little bit of an advantage just from working with kids as often as I do. But it's something that it will shock every new dad. There will be a ton of stuff that no one ever told you that you'll find out the hard way.
Yeah.
But as long as you have the best interest of the kid in mind, you're loving your kid, you're not going to go wrong. You're going to make mistakes, but in the grand scheme of things, the big picture, you're still going to do well.
What did they say? The naughty twos or something?
Oh, the terrible twos?
Yeah.
Sort of. We've gotten lucky. Our son's temperament, he's a very loving, easygoing kid, just kind of his natural nature. But I mean, at the same time, when he gets close to bedtime, yeah, he'll get a little tantrum, or he'll have points where he's starting to get a little more independent, and he's starting to get a little bit more possessive with his toys, because his younger sister will grab a toy, and he's starting to get to the point where he's showing that he's possessive of that toy. And so I say that now that he's got a very easygoing, loving temperament, but he's starting to show that he's progressing to that more independent stage. And so the next, if you checked back in a year, I might have a different answer.
Okay. Well, I might do that.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, because I can understand my nephew. He's 4 now, and I feel like he has tantrums mostly every day. He doesn't. He's a funny kid, but he just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but he's just a wild kid that has so much energy. But he said he said one time that he doesn't like taking naps and he wants to be with the big kids. But then mostly the big kids, I guess he doesn't like sleeping with the little kids, but he likes to be doing something with the bigger kids, because he goes to this really good school, but like a daycare, but it's mostly a school. And then the other one goes to a daycare in the at a church, so he has something to do. Does your kids go to daycare or
Yeah, they do. My wife is also a dentist, so she works full time as well. So especially while she's working and I'm in school, both of our kids go to a local daycare. They've both gone to daycare since they were, just a few months old, and that's been a very crucial part for us with both of us working, to have reliable childcare. So that's been kind of an up and down battle of finding the right daycares that are a good fit. We've been in some that were just absolutely fantastic. We've been in others that we kind of had to shift gears pretty quickly, thinking that, this is going to be a good fit. And we find out pretty fast that, nope, this one is not a good fit. And then we were pretty quick to, move them from there. But, we were pretty lucky in our new home in Illinois that the second daycare that we went to, we've really had a great experience there. So we're, for all intents and purposes, planning on keeping our kids there until they start school.
I have family in the Chicago, Illinois area.
Okay. Yeah, we're about 5 hours south from there.
So I mostly have family in the East Coast. I have in Chicago, Illinois area. I have family everywhere, but something to do, I guess.
Yeah, good reason to travel. What brought you to Kansas City?
Well, I was born in Kansas City.
Gotcha.
And then now. Like we lived in the Northland, and now we're back in. We just live in the Kansas side.
Okay. Yeah, we lived in the Northland too. We lived right off of Berry Road actually when
Well,
we were out there.
that's where I was too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know where the QT is on Berry Road?
Yep. Across
We
the
lived in
across the street
if you
from Park Hill.
yeah. So if you turned right next to the QT, we lived. You kind of snake back down that road, but we lived all the way at the end of that road, right on. I'm trying to think. I don't remember the name of the main road. It was Berry and Mercer Court is where we lived. But yeah, it sounds like we were right next to each other there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I went to school at Park Hill, so
Oh, okay.
and
So
then
you're super familiar with the
and
area.
then yeah, and then I went to Congress Middle School and all that fun jazz, I guess.
All right.
So, yeah, so
Yeah, we really liked it up there. We thought the Northland was a nice area. It was it's close to the city and
yeah.
wasn't too urban, but it was also growing, so it was kind of a good place to be.
I mean, they have a lot of things going down there. There's like Zona Rosa and
Yep.
and all those cool restaurants down there. Hey everyone, it's me, Dan, from the Uncles and Fatherhood podcast, and I have some awesome news for you today. So, if you're looking for a great brand of diapers, you should check out this awesome company called Nest Diapers. They're eco-friendly, and you can use our code called Uncle20 and get your first purchase of diapers. So is your 2-year old son still potty trained, or is he still wearing diapers?
Oh, so we are in the process of potty training now. He's primarily in diapers, but he is just now kind of getting to the point where he can anticipate that he's gonna use the restroom. For the first few times that you're potty training, it's more of just everything's an accident. They don't really know that it's coming. And so it's kind of a waiting game of figuring out when they're going to start to realize and kind of get that anticipatory reaction of, oh, I need to use the bathroom and then actually go to the potty. And so he's getting there. He's successfully used the potty, a couple times, but we're still very, very early on. So we've still got both kiddos in diapers right now.
Well, that was because I know a lot of parents have been doing the three, I think it's called the 3-day challenge. Have you heard of that one?
No, where you just go naked through the house for 3 days.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of been my wife's approach. Kind of like I mentioned before, I'm not there a lot during the week, but they've done that a couple times. And then on a couple weekends, we've attempted it. And so we've kind of gone back and forth with that. We haven't had a consistent 3 days where we just did it, straight through for 3 days. We haven't been that successful with it, but I could see us retrying it again sometime soon.
Because I know sometimes they do it on the weekends.
Yep.
Because
that makes sense.
It's easier for the kids because they're not doing anything on the weekends, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
yeah, that's actually pretty smart.
And I know that they just put the potty, the little potty for the little kids, and just in the middle of the TV screen, and just
yep.
do it that way, I guess.
Yeah, just sit right there, buddy.
but I would be a little scared if that happened. If there was having a naked child running around and then without it, with nothing on, and then there's accidents everywhere. That's a little.
Yeah, you they're kind of like the question earlier with the diapers and kind of learning. There's just kind of certain things that you get used to, and that's one of them. There's gonna be accidents. There's gonna be body fluids that you have to clean up. Your kiddos are gonna kind of pee everywhere, but that's just kind of part of it. I wish I had a golden answer of, oh yeah, my kids don't pee on the carpet. My kids pee everywhere. Yeah, it's just, I think, one of those realities of being a parent, but luckily you kind of just get used to it, and it's really not a big deal anymore. But I could definitely see, if you weren't around a lot of kids growing up, or if you weren't used to dealing with kids, how the first time that happened could be fairly shocking to you. But I think most parents, by the time their kid is two, most parents are pretty well accustomed to that at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I've changed a couple of diapers, for my friends' kids and my cousins when they were little. Um, so learning how to take care of a kid. Because I used to.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely a good experience, especially if you're considering adopting, then by all means, just kind of getting the experience of what it's like, I think is a great experience. Kind of get a little bit of an idea what you're getting yourself into. It's one of those things you'll never fully appreciate until it's a 24/7 thing, but you'll have a much better idea of what you're getting yourself into. And I mean, even having this podcast where you're talking to people, I think that you're doing a great service, not only to yourself, but to new dads, new uncles, having just a place where everybody can come together and talk about these things. I think that you're doing a great service for people, and hopefully that brings value to your listeners, but also to you looking to build a family in the future. This is very, very helpful.
Yeah, because it is. I mean, it's good to know. I mean, a lot of mostly I've interviewed dads, and they've been telling me stuff about this and telling me about Potty Training and just random stories what they want to share. And I also did a couple of podcasts with companies that sell diaper bags, so I was like very interested in that, and people that have books they would like to share, and some people had have books for new dads, so that was very exciting to learn about as well. So
yeah, absolutely great resources. And I'm trying to think of other things that I could add to your listeners that may be a little unique. And I mean, the big one that comes to mind, I could definitely talk about a couple things with dental, being that I work with pediatric patients. I definitely could give you a little bit on that if you think it would be beneficial.
Sure.
Do a little bit of a couple-minute dental deep dive here if you want, because I mean that's one thing that I probably have a unique perspective on, because of the number of kids that we see, and we see a lot of moms and dads that come in, and it definitely can weigh on a family if your kid has a lot of cavities, or you don't really necessarily have a dentist that you go to a lot. We kind of see the aftermath of what happens when you don't exactly know how to take care of the teeth, and then also kind of the guilt that the parents have if their kid has cavities, which, going back to what I said earlier about learning to care for a kid, you got to take accountability for the health of your child, but you also, again, have to give yourself a little bit of grace, knowing that no one's ever going to be perfect. And so, from a dental perspective, some of the things that I think would be very helpful to new parents would be brushing your kids' teeth when the teeth, when you first see the teeth, you need to start brushing the teeth. So a lot of people think they can wait until later, or if a kid is breastfeeding, they don't think that the kid can get cavities. That's not the case. And so you actually can get cavities from breast milk. You can get cavities from formula or other foods that they're eating. And in fact, we see numerous young kids that are 2 years old and they have a mouthful of cavities. And so it definitely can happen. And so, some of the things that I want new parents to be aware of is kids are they're gonna cry when you brush their teeth. They're gonna cry when you put their clothes on. They're gonna cry when you put their shoes on. They're gonna cry when you turn the TV off. Crying is just how they communicate. So if you see your kid is crying, if they're throwing a little bit of a fit when you're trying to brush their teeth, that's normal. You're not a bad parent if your kid is crying while you're brushing their teeth. Your kid is just communicating to you. So don't be scared to get in there and really brush their teeth. Also, use a fluoridated toothpaste. So fluoride is very beneficial, especially to young teeth. And so if your kid's younger than 3, all you want to do is use about a grain of rice amount of toothpaste. So just a little bit of toothpaste. Your kid's going to swallow it. That's okay. The big thing is that they're not swallowing a whole tube of toothpaste. So just a little bit of a grain of rice. Once they're above 3 years old, you can use the size of a pea. And that's how we monitor the amount of fluoride. Those 2 things alone are going to get you a long way. From there, I would say tip number 3 is be mindful of snacking and when they're snacking. So if you're going to give your kids snacks, you really want to try to keep it to meal time. So if your kid likes juice or if your kid likes milk, really recommend that you're trying to only do that with their meal. If you give them additional sugary foods while they're eating other foods, in general, it's not going to have a huge negative effect on the teeth. But if you're giving them a sippy cup that has juice or soda or milk and they're sipping on it all day long, that is going to very quickly damage their teeth, to the point that a lot of times we may not even be able to save the teeth. And so the frequent snacking is a huge one. And then lastly with the snacking is just making sure when you brush your teeth at night, when the kid brushes their teeth tonight or at night, nothing else to eat or drink after that except for water. And so nothing else goes to the bed with the kid. The kiddos that get juice or milk or anything to eat, a lot of parents will actually put it in the crib with the kid because they want the kid to sleep overnight. Yeah. Do not do that. Their front teeth will essentially decay to the point that we oftentimes have to take the teeth out. And so you don't want to do that. And so, but I mean, generally speaking, that's kind of, I think, a good dental deep dive for young people. You want to see your dentist as soon as the first tooth comes in, no later than 1 year of age. If you follow everything I kind of just told you and you get a dentist on board, chances are most kids are going to do just fine. So that would be my only spiel, my only plug for the dental aspect. But hopefully that's a kind of a unique perspective that can help out your listeners.
Well, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff, man. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to be careful, because I can talk about kids. I can talk about being a dad, I can talk about teeth pretty much all day long. And so
Well,
sometimes you just
you're
got to
here
stop me.
for. That's what you're here for on this app or this podcast.
Oh, well, good.
Um, so what do you have? Do you have anything else about being a dad?
Oh, being a dad's great. You know, it's just, you have an idea of what it's going to be like, and then most of the time it just completely shatters the expectation. You know, it's a new motivator. You set goals in your life, and you think you have a plan for your life, and then you become a dad and realize that now you have a whole new motivator that is way bigger and way stronger than any motivation you had before. You know, just having those little children that are completely reliant on you, that are calling you dad, it's a fantastic experience, you know, and it's something that drives me and motivates me every day. So being a dad, I mean, it's a huge blessing. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
That's awesome. I mean, when my well my friends a friend of mine that lived with me when we were younger and like I was when I was like 17. She had a daughter and she used to live with me, my mom, and now she's grown and she comes over my house, like she came over for the game, and um she calls me Uncle Dan, so I mean makes me happy.
Awesome.
So I mean, it's not my kid, but um it's just nice to hear people call me Uncle
Yeah.
Dan or something like that. Um,
Yeah, it's a fun connection, you know. It's I don't know. You understand it. I mean, it's just it's a connection that is kind of, for it's hard to put into words, which is normally not difficult for me. Normally I have too much to say, but it's just one of those things that's kind of more of it's just more of a feeling, you know.
yeah,
Like when you hear the words, it just kind of moves you in a way, and it's powerful. It's powerful and it's fun, and I'm glad that you know, everyone's got that in their life. Probably listening to this podcast, whether it's, you know, through fatherhood or being an uncle, has some aspect of that, and I think it's something that most people listening are going to understand what I'm talking about without me even having to say it, you know?
yeah. I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's nice to have somebody on the podcast that knows what they're talking about.
No, well, yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that you feel that way.
Um, it's always good to have somebody.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Did you have anything else you thought of? Anything else that came up? That questions?
Like, what do you like to do with them?
That's a great question. You know, my nieces and nephews are a variety of ages. So, I mean, my oldest nephew's 10, my youngest nephew is 1. And so there's a whole wide range of things that we do. And that's kind of the fun part. You know, I kind of let the kid's personality normally dictate that. You know, my oldest nephew really likes to hunt and fish and hang out, and so if we get the opportunity to go fishing, I would you know, once it gets warmer, I would love to take him fishing. But you know, the oldest nephew on my wife's side, he's the complete opposite. You know, he is just this hilarious little kid, but he's not into sports really. He's much more into art and science, and he likes to do science experiments, and so if I'm hanging out with him, then we might do a science experiment in the kitchen, or we might build a pillow fort in the basement, so it's really pretty variable. It's all over the board with what we do with our nieces and nephews. And it's really just, we just try to find something that the kid's excited about, because we don't get to see them, too often. So it's just kind of about having fun.
Well, I have another question.
Yeah.
So what do you like to do on your when you're not around your kids? You have a little time alone.
Yeah. That's another great question. I'm trying to think the last time I had free time. So I'm going to give you the truthful answer first, and then I'll give you kind of the imaginary answer in a way. The truthful answer is, when I'm away from my kids, I like to sit on the couch in my sweatpants and my sweatshirt and relax and do nothing, because I'm normally fairly exhausted. If in an ideal world, if my kids were a little older and I had a little bit more energy, then my wife and I like to try new restaurants. We like to when we were in Kansas City, we like to really go to the speakeasies and try like a new cocktail and kind of get out into the city a little bit. We really liked adventuring into new restaurants and stuff like that. Lately, we do more Netflix, or we've been watching Yellowstone, just because that's a lot easier to do from home with the kids sleeping. I personally like to stay active. I like to exercise. I like to go fishing. I like to get outside as much as I can, just because I'm sitting inside for most of the day with my job. And so if I can get up and get active and get outside, then that's normally my goal. But try to not only get active and not only get some sunlight and get some variety in your day, but also get some social aspect to your day, because I think that's also important, is to get that social aspect into your life. And something else I would actually tell new parents, and I didn't even really think about that till right now, is, don't forget to take that time to spend with your significant other. Don't forget to take that time to spend with your friends, making sure that you're still staying kind of well-rounded is very important to your own mental health, which your kids are going to pick up on, and one of my favorite quotes with parenting is that more is caught than taught. Your kids, you can tell them one thing, but if you act a different way, they're going to reflect the way that you're acting. They're going to pick that up. And so making sure that you're keeping your mental health in check by making sure you have that social aspect in your life, that spiritual aspect, that relationship aspect where you still have a strong connection with your partner. I think that is very important. And so we try to prioritize that, although I will say that we don't always do a great job right now because of the age of our kids, but we're working on it. We all have stuff that we're aiming for, and I would say my wife and I right now are aiming toward making sure we get a few more date nights, just to make sure we get that aspect of our relationship going again.
Well, that's good that you're doing that. So, what is your you say you were saying you like to go to different places in Kansas City, but do you have any favorite restaurant you like to go to when you were here?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I can tell you, without a doubt, my favorite restaurant was Q39. Love the barbecue. And then our favorite speakeasy was the W in Lee's Summit. If I was to go to Kansas City for one day and one night, I would for sure go to Q39 and the W. That would be like a perfect Kansas City day for me.
Now, what is the W?
The W is a speakeasy in Lee's Summit. It's really, really neat how it works. You text them, you make your reservation, but then there's no, it's a true speakeasy. There's no sign on the outside, but it's this, it looks like the door, looks like a doctor's office. And then you ring the doorbell, they let you upstairs. And then once you get upstairs, I don't want to say it's a full bar. It's not like a bar that you're thinking of, because it's much quieter. It's a much more intimate environment where you can actually sit down and have a conversation. It's not like a college bar where you got a live band in the corner and you can't even hear the person next to you. It's much more of a, let's sit down, have a drink, and just kind of have a good time, but a little more mild night as compared to some of the other bars in downtown Lee's Summit. So it's we just really, really grew to like that place. It was always one of our favorite places to take visitors. And the drinks there, if you're somebody that does drink, or you have the occasional cocktail, they're just so good. And the bartenders there are just so good. If you don't like anything on the menu, you just tell them what you like, and they will make you a drink that will just knock your socks off. I'm so impressed with that place. If you can't tell with the way I'm talking about it,
sounds like you are
so good.
Well, I do like barbecue, and it's like I do like my barbecue from Kansas City, so they do have some good places.
Have you been to Q39?
Yeah, I've been there once, I think, maybe twice. I don't know, but.
Well, what's your favorite? What's your favorite place?
There's a couple. I like BB Barbecue. That's a good one.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of jazz and jazz musicians play in the background once in a while.
Cool.
And then and just I don't know any other one. I know there's so many.
That's true. They're everywhere.
But I just want some good barbecue. That's mostly. Pork. I like pork sandwiches, and sometimes I like.
Yeah.
There's just so many, and then there's like the music scene down in Kansas City on Westport is good.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it's really a great city. That's of all the places we lived and moved around, Kansas City was probably our favorite. We really enjoyed our time out there. Ultimately we want to be closer to family, and Kansas City is all the way across the state of Missouri from where our family is, and so it adds about 4 hours onto the commute compared to St. Louis or anywhere in Illinois. And so ultimately that was our deciding factor of why we moved back. But if our family wasn't in Illinois, I am 100% certain that we would be moving back to Kansas City. I agree with you. It's such a diverse little town of stuff to do, but it's such a good environment. We had a great time.
I feel like there's like so many new things are popping up everywhere that it's excited. I can't wait to get out of my house and go to do something after this COVID is over.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think everyone's getting a little stir crazy. They're ready for just anything different at this point. Different than the walls inside your house or apartment.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about this whole COVID situation?
Um, I don't know. It depends kind of what aspect of it. I mean, I think that it's something we definitely have to take seriously. It's not something that we are out of the woods yet on, but I think as we get more vaccines into the general public, as we start getting closer to reaching even a herd immunity, as more people get it and survive from it, then I think eventually we'll get back to a normal life. But it's not going away
No.
anytime soon. It's not ever going away. It's going to be around. It's just a question of how bad does it affect people. And I think once we get to a point that most of the general public is either vaccinated or has had COVID, we're really going to see the cases start to drop off. We'll start to see a lot of the mortalities drop off, and we'll start to get back to normal. But it's always a balancing act, and I think you got to have you really got to give the people that are making the decisions, you got to give them a little bit of grace as well, because I think going into this, people were very critical of decision makers, and a lot of it was just because of, in my opinion, a lack of transparency. No one really understood COVID when this all started, and very few people were willing just to come out and say, we don't have all the information, we don't really understand it, but these are the precautions we would like to take, and everyone's, I think, trying to be optimistic and make their own projections of when it will be gone, when in reality, we don't really know, and it's always going to be hard to enforce a national standard whenever you have different state legislations and you have different state opinions. So it's hard to be, I think, a major decision maker right now. And so I think we all have to kind of keep that in mind, try to support each other. But really, I don't have a ton of major opinions on COVID other than it's not going away anytime soon, and hopefully people will get vaccinated so it will go away faster.
Have you had your vaccination yet?
I have. I've had both rounds of mine. I had the Pfizer vaccination.
Do you have a really cool mask you like to wear around the office?
No cool mask for me. Just the generic surgery mask, unless with what we do, if we're depending on the procedure we're doing, I'll put on one of the N95 masks, which are a higher grade mask. It filters out smaller particles, and so we'll wear those if we're worried that the patient may
have COVID,
have been exposed to COVID, or if we're worried they may have COVID, or if it's just a procedure that we're aerosolizing saliva, then we'll wear an N95. But
I've seen
otherwise, just a regular surgical mask.
I've seen those bigger ones that shows, like, it's the clear one that just goes around your face.
Yeah. I haven't worn that. I think people, you're entitled to wear whatever you want that you feel safe with wearing, but generally speaking, I personally feel well protected wearing the N95, and so I haven't really gone above that. I wear a face shield just to keep the splatter and water droplets from getting to my face, but otherwise, no, I haven't gone to the space suit.
No, it's just sometimes it's funny looking at them with all the masks.
They're definitely interesting.
But I mean, it's good that you're just like, I haven't had it yet. I haven't had the shots yet, but I've been stuck in my house since mostly this whole COVID thing. But when I go to doctor's appointments, I always wear my mask, and when I'm out of the house, I use my mask. I don't want to get or be around or get sick by anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a totally reasonable way to approach it. Just caution.
Yeah.
I think if everyone took the approach of just being cautious, that would
everything it would work. Everybody would
definitely help.
Yeah,
it would definitely help.
Yeah.
So and again, I don't have really a hard and fast standard that I follow, but I just kind of you can pick and choose your battles. That's my opinion, and it's very easy to wear a mask. It's very easy to wash your hands, and generally speaking, we've been saying that about the flu for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So wash your hands, cover your mouth. These are all basic precautions that we've been saying for years. And the only new thing is really the mask and the social distancing, which, I mean, I think people get really caught up in the details. They don't want their freedoms infringed upon, which I think is reasonable. Again, they have that right to that. But in the big picture, I think if we were to look out, a little bigger picture, 1-2 years, a lot of this will be behind us, and hopefully we will be back to a more normal lifestyle. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Well,